welcome to the Just You channel, all about Run Bike Run. If you've just returned from previous watch, thanks very much for coming back. If you've just dropped in as a first timer, you are most welcome. I'm here today in the office with my friend down there, fast asleep. So what are we going to talk about today? We're not in the garage, we're not working out, that's all going on in a different filming batch. But we are going to talk about something that is really quite interesting and challenging me at the moment. Today it's all about running track spikes. Yes, one of my goals, plans, aspirations for 2025 is to get back and do some track racing as a 60-year-old. So I'm aiming to get in with a local athletics club and do some vets graded meetings. So I'm looking forward to that. But with all the regulations and trainer development, it's very difficult to know what to wear. Most people just think, yeah, track running, we're running spikes. But as older guys, we do road running, we do duathlons. Last time we wore spikes, we were teenagers. So we're talking 45 years ago. But there are regulations, and I think it would be frowned upon if I turned up on a veterans track lead wearing Nike Alpha Flies or Vapor Flies. So they're not as fast, you could argue, as well on track. Spikes are the things to wear. Give you a bit of extra push, they're really light, give you extra propulsion, whatever you want to call it. So which spikes should I use? These are the Nike Dragonfly. And I got these last year for the same reason, because I'm doing track sessions to help my running and I just wanted to wear spikes. Relive my youth, whatever you want to call it. Technology's changed massively since I last wore spikes, but more importantly, the body has changed since I last wore spikes. It just can't take these wafer-thin soles. We like the bouncy super shoes, we like the cushioning, we like the responsive feel that we get. So you could argue super spikes are all actually modelled on the equivalent road running shoe. So this Dragonfly spike, for example, seems to be modelled on the Vaporfly, which is a road race shoe. So here is an example of the Vaporfly. It is indeed the Vaporfly. And if we put them above each other, can you see the similarity? Yeah, well, it's a stretch of the imagination, but I think in very basic terms, they are the equivalent. So I thought to myself, I'll try these again this year. So the last track session, as you recall, I wore my spikes totally for the whole session. There was no, I'm going to get used to these, do a few strides. It was so cold and frosty and icy that the only way I could do a useful track session was to put the spikes on and get the grip. So I did 8 400s in spikes, and then the last two for a 10 times 400 metre set, I put my trainers back in because my calves were beginning to feel the impact of wearing spikes. Too used to spongy bloody super shoes. But overall, it felt great to wear spikes. It was really, really good. But the sensation and the effect on the legs, I just thought, even though these are this spike of choice for many people, especially the elites, they're all younger, aren't they? There is a propulsive element to it. There is a carbon plate in it. And there is a lot more cushioning in these Nike Dragonfly spikes than I used to have in my old, they were Nike Zoom, if anybody remembers it. The one Seb Coe, Steve Ovett used to wear. I thought they were fantastic, but it's probably like running with tissue paper on my sole when I think back. But we were young and we had the elasticity in our joints and our muscles, didn't we, back then? But I've been thinking, is there a better spike than this Nike Dragonfly for us older blokes? Something with more cushioning, something that even more relatable to road running shoes that we're used to. So I'm looking for a bit more cushioning, same propulsion. Is there something out there for me? How am I going to test new spikes? I'm not one of these shoe tubers. Nobody sends me spikes to test out freebies. So I thought, well, I'm going to have an assessment of which spikes could be better by reviewing them online, then ordering them, and then wearing them around the house, see how they feel, what's the initial thoughts in terms of sponginess, fit, and comparison against the Dragonfly. So I selected 5 different spikes from reviews that I think could be good for me as an older guy to give me propulsion and cushioning and protect the legs a bit more than the Nike Dragonfly. Number 1, Saucony Terminal VT. There we are, the Saucony Terminal VT. Number 2, the Brooks Hyperion Long Distance, LD for short. Number 3, ASICS Metaspeed Sky Paris Spike version. Nice, isn't it? Number 4, Adidas Adios Avanti TYO. I think that stands for Tokyo version. Not bad. And lastly, another Adidas, which is an Avanti, Adios Avanti, so no TYO, but it's a totally different shoe to the Adidas one. Right, you guys will have seen that all those spikes had a fair amount of stack on there. Obviously they're all legal, they need to be below 25mm to be able to run on the track legally, but in my eyes they've all got more stack and cushioning than the Nike Dragonfly that I already own. So which one of these is going to suit me best? I'm just going to have a play with these spikes. Back to the Saucony Terminal VT. Now this is the lightest out of any of those spikes, and I'm told it's the lightest spike on the market. Incredible. It literally feels like there's nothing there. And the upper is a booty weave, which I really like, the booty style. It's really stretchy, transparent. It is a great shoe, and I like the way it looks as well. It's got a plate, it's cushioned. What more could you want? So it's a contender. Moving on to the ASICS. Again, this is pretty much like the Saucony. They're quite similar in many ways. It's not a booty fit, it's a traditional tongue. Now both of these I've tried on. They both seem to me to have more cushioning and a better feel than the Nike Dragonfly. Bear in mind, all I've tried these on around the house on a carpet and on hard floors and compared it to the Dragonfly. Brooks Hyperion, again another light one. They're all very light, not as light as the Saucony, and this had a bit of a same feel as the Dragonfly. This is the one worn by, is it Jake Whiteman? One of the fast dudes, professional middle distance runner. Yeah, all got this kind of weaved knit, very light, and it has got more cushioning than the Dragonfly, but it felt very much the same. Not really a contender. The Adidas Adizero, so TYO. Again, you can see they've all got more stack on than the Dragonfly. It's very light. It gets a good rap for being cushioned, but to be honest, it just didn't feel comfortable. And this actually is very similar to the Adios Pro 2 that I've got. There's a Pro 4 out now. But again, these are like the spike version of the road super shoes. They're all carbon plated. I've saved the last one for the Adidas Adizero Avanti. It's a very different spike. And to me, I don't know if you can see it, out of all the spikes I've got, this has got the biggest stack. And the shape of the spike as well is, I don't know, it's wider. The sole is wider, the back end is wider. I'll try and compare those. As you can see, this is the Saucony, which I really like, but you can see the difference. This is a lot more nimble. It actually looks like a sole of a foot. This one is more stable and it's got more stack, and it is the heaviest out of all of them, reportedly about 170 grams. But if you had a road racing train of 170 grams, you'd be like, this is fantastic. So that doesn't really bother me. I'm more bothered about the cushioning, the feel, but still have a responsive feel to it. And I think this is going to be the one. I don't like the colourway, I don't like black, I like bright colours, but in terms of the stack and the way that the plate sort of rolls, I'm thinking this really will, as a midfoot striker like myself, this will really help me, push me, roll me forward onto the toes and help with propulsion, but have the max stack cushioning that I need to save my legs. So without actually testing any of these on the track, I think that this Adidas Avanti is going to suit what I want for this particular purpose. I think in a perfect world, I'd train in this one, the Adidas, and race in the Saucony, because it just is so light and it's got cushioning better than now Dragonfly, but yeah, I can't afford to have multiple pairs of spikes. I probably won't get the use out of them. So it looks like a goodbye to that one, sniff, and a keep for this one. And I'll do a further update once I've actually worn it on the track. I'd like to wear them all on the track, but like I said, there's no way I can do that and keep them. So to send them back, at least I've got to try them on and get a feel. And one thing I would add to this, I forgot to mention, it's got that, when you put it on the balls of your feet, you immediately feel that support and squishiness that none of the other spikes have. It feels like a super shoe trainer, basically. So if I get that effect running around the track, happy days. Okay, thanks for listening to that quick update, and we'll see what happens when I select one and wear one at the track and how it actually feels running in it, because that is very different from just walking around the house on a carpet and hard floors. Okay, thanks for joining. Join me again for the update. Right, so done quite a few extended strides in these Adidas Adizero Avanti, I think they're called. I can never remember the name. They're certainly more cushion than the Nike Dragonfly, without a doubt. They're just more comfortable. I don't know if they've got as much pop, but I think the legs like these better, and the amount of pop won't make any difference because the legs damper it all anyway. So these are good choice. I like them. Still takes some getting used to, and I need to keep on getting these sessions in with spikes on so I can be really familiar with them when I do track races in the summer. So happy days.